What is up, guys? My name is Cosmic and welcome to the video in which I will be ranking the difficulty of the Prince of Persia Trilogy's bosses. This video will cover all of the real substantial enemies and clear bosses from the Prince of Persia Sands of Time, Warrior Within, and the Two Thrones. This goes without saying, but this video is completely my opinion and is in no way objective. If you had an easier or harder time with any of these bosses, please let me know in the comment section below. I'm always interested to see what you guys think. Also, sorry for my voice, I'm a little bit sick right now, so it probably sounds a little bit different, so please excuse that. Without further ado, let's start off with King SHARAMAN from Prince of Persia The Sands of Time. This game only has 2 bosses and this is the easiest in the entire trilogy. Honestly, the only difficulty this boss gets is from the ads that spawn with him. You and Farah have to first of all kill a huge onslaught of blue and red warriors before finally killing SHARAMAN. You cannot hit him at all until the ads are killed. This is the first battle in the Sands of Time that has blue warriors, a variation of the red warriors that shares a very similar moveset but has a few extra tidbits that make them more difficult. An example being you can't jump over them unless you rebound off a wall because they just give you the middle finger and hit you straight back away, similar to the heavy warriors you encounter later on in the game. The red ones are fairly standard and can just be jumped over and stabbed instantly without any sort of resistance, but the blue ones can be a nuisance because they can parry you and make it tougher for you. There is a bug that you can use that's used in the speedrun that allows you to instantly knock them to the floor, but using this also has the risk of the parry that can catch you off guard. Once the ads are dead, it's just a case of killing daddy. Every 5 hits you will break his guard and manage to get a hit on him. This process is dull and boring and lacks any enjoyment whatsoever, so you can just do my cheese method of jumping over him and getting a frequent head/hits in. You've killed your father, Prince! How could you? Was that really your father? Well, here we are with our second and final The Sands of Time boss, and it's only at the number 13 ranking. Man, if I were to make a top 10 disappointing final bosses video, let me tell you, the Vizier of Sands of Time would absolutely be on that list. This boss lacks creativity and is super easy. It's literally killing the Vizier 3 times over. He's easy to parry and blocks easily, but none of this is really an issue as he deals very little damage and his attacks are very few and far between, making this fight an absolute cakewalk. Honestly, I'm just not sure what to say. Just spam left click and continue jumping over him and you'll get him weak enough that you could just wail on him and knock him into another dimension apparently. Oh, did I mention you can cheese one of the phases? Yeah, just use Mega Freeze and you've got yourself a hack and slash. Sorry Vizier, but you just don't make the cut for a good final boss. At least, not in this game. Being big does not make you difficult, buddy. At number 11, we have KLOMPA. This is undoubtedly one of the most nostalgic and memorable bosses in the entire franchise to me. As the first boss of the Two Thrones and the one that takes the cake as the largest in the entire series, he's located in what seems to be some sort of gladiatorial arena. To defeat KLOMPA, you first have to avoid his very slow and telegraphed attacks with his swords, fists, and legs to find 2 platforms that you can climb up to reach a balcony where you can start 2 different quick time events in which you try to climb on the giant's neck until you're able to stab his eyes. Stab both of them and complete both quick time events and KLOMPA is now blind. Now you can get up close and personal to that thick booty and slice at those skinny little legs of his. He can be a little difficult in this phase though. Because he's blind, he kinda just reduces himself to flailing his legs about and swinging his sword aimlessly in a huge arc in an attempt to deal massive damage and knock back to the prince. Seriously, this attack can one-shot you if you're not careful. Also, I'm not sure if this is an intended mechanic or not, or a strange bug in the game, but for the duration that KLOMPA is in one of these attacks, he's completely invulnerable. So you kinda just have to stand around and wait for a visual cue when his attack animation ends before attacking him again. Try spacing out your attacks a little more, maybe no more than 2 slices before attacking him again to avoid staggering. Once you melt him down though, Humpty Dumpty over here will get on one leg and hover his other one in the air. Slice at his other leg and you'll bring him to his knees. Slice onto his back and finish the big guy off. Number 11, Mahasти. Along with KLOMPA and the twins, she was with the Vizier when he killed KAILEENA and transformed into the sand monster. She is evidently one of his generals and knows full well what his plans are due to her giving away this information after you kill her. Mahasти is the only boss in the franchise that you fight in 2 different forms, as Normal Prince and the Dark Prince. The fight starts off as the player controlling Normal Prince and is extremely reminiscent of SHAHDEE and KAILEENA from Warrior Within. At first she can be quite intimidating due to her girthy health bar and having you deal pitiful damage to her. Don't worry about taking too much damage during this phase and don't worry about her health bar either. This first phase ends pretty quickly and before long you inconveniently, or conveniently, depending on which way you look at it, transform into the Dark Prince and phase 2 of the battle begins. In phase 2, you have to travel around the arena, killing the silhouettes to keep replenishing the Dark Prince's health, and upon reaching Mahasти, you must slow down time and unleash everything you have on her. Continuously do this until she's dead. Pretty simple, really. Only thing that can really go wrong here is if you somehow forget to kill the silhouettes, or get cooked midair by Mahasти when she throws a blade at you occasionally. Other than this though, this fight is pretty straightforward, but also pretty damn satisfying to conquer.
You waste your time. The Vizier has already begun to transform the women I've imprisoned. You buy yourself hours at best.
If I had some sands for every time someone said that to me. Oh, I do.
Number 10, SHAHDEE, First Encounter. Warrior Within kicks you right off the bat with this really good boss fight in which you battle SHAHDEE, seemingly a general of this army that suddenly attacks the prince and his crew at sea. One thing I credit Warrior Within for is having boss battles that really feel like duels between two people that are skilled with their swords, if you know what I mean. And SHAHDEE's First Encounter really emphasizes that. This fight teaches you how to parry and block effectively, and also shows you that not every attack in this game can be blocked and parried. SHAHDEE attacks very frequently with her twin blades and parries the prince a lot, performing underslashes that will knock him to the ground and cannot be blocked. Adapting to her combat style is very fun and actually can be quite challenging if you've only experienced Sands of Time's combat system. This fight is very good at making you and your opponent feel equal, and having an amazing and atmospheric arena on top of that makes this first encounter with SHAHDEE a pleasure to experience. And it only gets better from here. Number 9, the Twins. This boss was pretty hard to rank due to the fact that I already have a lot of knowledge of these games and know how to kill the boss already, but I fondly remember on my first playthrough of the Two Thrones I was stuck on this boss for quite a while, misunderstanding what my objective of this fight actually was. If you attack the warrior with the axe, he just blocks it and your combo is broken immediately. You have to focus your attention towards the one with the sword. You can't deal any direct damage to him, but he doesn't parry you like the axe warrior does. After attacking the swordsman for a while, the one with the axe will swing upwards towards you and hit so hard that if you dodge it, his axe will get stuck in the ground. This is your opportunity to deal damage to him. You must continue avoiding the swordsman for a while, but try everything you can to deal damage to the one with the axe. Just jump over him occasionally to make some distance between the swordsman and you. Repeat this process for 2 phases and the fight is over. I would have loved to have seen this fight fleshed out a little more, but altogether it's a cool design with cool music and a cool arena. Cool. Number 8, THRALL. This guy was also pretty difficult to rank, but I like him at the number 8 spot. Throughout Warrior Within, you've already encountered multiple brutes and taken them down successfully, and a THRALL is essentially a buffed brute with a health bar. The hardest part about this fight is getting into his knees. Some of his attacks, as well as those dealt from the brutes, can be pretty tough to dodge due to them being poorly telegraphed, and he can also hit pretty damn hard. Once you manage to get him down though, if you're aware of the mechanic of leaning left or right to avoid his grabby hands, then you're pretty much free to kill him. Just like Soulsborne, Greed can be the real killer of this phase, and if you stay on his back for too long, he's just gonna throw you straight back off. And, well, that's pretty much it. Get him to his knees, spam attack and dodge when you need to, and you can kill this THRALL in no time. Number 7, Stone Guardian. Considering this guy at boss fight might be slightly controversial, but he's a one-of-a-kind enemy with unique mechanics to the Two Thrones and has his own music, so I'm considering him boss. Stone Guardian is very similar to the THRALL and brutes from Warrior Within for the first phase, except with a camera that fucking hates you. But yeah, he has a very similar attack moveset, and the way of getting onto his head is exactly the same. Attack the viney, grassy surface on the back of his legs until he's on his knees. Once you're on your head, you have one QTE dagger attack and he just goes absolutely crazy. You have to guide the Stone Guardian through the canal arena just by turning him, but this is easier said than done. His controls can be a little wonky, and if you hit his shoulder when cutting a corner, his controls get even wonkier, and if you hit a wall head on, you and the Stone Guardian are both dead. You have a few chances to fix it by rewinding time, but honestly it's quite infuriating when you try and control him and nothing goes your way. Stone Guardian is another example of a Two Thrones boss that I really wish they looked more into and attempted to flesh the fight out a little bit more. I can finish this fight in roughly 1 minute and 15 seconds if I hit everything and play well, which is pretty lackluster considering this guy is a rehash of THRALL and the brutes. Number 6, SHAHDEE, Second Encounter. The second boss of Warrior Within is just the first boss with a fancier moveset. and by fancier moveset, I mean one extra bullshit attack that can insta-kill you by knocking you off the map. Other than this though, I have the same praise to give this fight that I have to give a first encounter. It truly feels like a fair fight, swordsman versus swordsman. And with Warrior Within's big choice of moves in its combat system to choose from, it's great to pull off combos and fend off parries. Just do watch out for this kick of hers. It'll probably knock you off the map and it feels gross. Unlike her first encounter, you do actually have to get her health bar down to 0% by the way, instead of just 20%, so it's a little bit lengthier. Number 5, KAILEENA, Empress of Time, first encounter.
What are you doing? You've trapped us in here!
I am sorry, Prince, but only one of us can cheat fate today.
You are the Empress!
If I made a top 10 video game stories list, Warrior Within's would be on that list for sure. Going through the entire game under the assumption that SHAHDEE was the Empress of Time, it was unexpected and really awesome to find out when the game that revealed it was KAILEENA, the woman we sought out to trust throughout the game so far. Her boss fight is nothing short of an exhilarating duel between the two experienced swordmen, just like SHAHDEE. Her fight shares a lot of SHAHDEE's with a few extra added twists too. There are pillars in her first encounter that allow you to vault off them for some cool combos, and 2 weapon racks if your current one breaks. When her health reaches about 60% and 20%, she will summon reskinned, weaker Crow Master adds that are pretty easy to take down and die pretty quickly. KAILEENA is invulnerable during this phase, so take your time and don't try to kill her while they're summoned. Kill the adds, melt KAILEENA down with frequent parrying, and you'll kill her first encounter in no time.
I mean you no harm, KAILEENA. But I must finish this!
You are a fool, Prince! No matter what you do, you still fail! Just as I have tried, and just as I have failed.
I am sorry, KAILEENA.
Number 4, Transformed Vizier. This fight was probably the hardest to rank out of all of them. This can be very easy if you know the combo to exploit. I'm using it in the footage I'm showing you right now. 2 hits with your father's sword, along with a third one to bait out his shield and then to block his counterattack. Every so often he'll levitate upwards and throw pieces of debris at you, the number of pieces depending on the state of his health bar at that current moment. This phase is very easy with knowledge of the combo, but can be extremely difficult without it due to some very fast and extremely hard-hitting attacks, especially on harder difficulties. The second phase of this fight is where you have to chase the Vizier to the pillar he's currently at and QTE slay him to cut off his wings and then finally to stab him. This is made difficult by the vortex of debris that will absolutely devastate your health bar on harder difficulties if they hit you. But the caveat is that you can just use slow motion and, once again, cheese the hell out of this phase by making it incredibly easy. Dodging the debris at normal speed while also apprehending the Vizier can be very difficult. It is for these reasons that I've put the Transformed Vizier at number 4. Number 3, Sand Griffin. I think everybody hates this fight. Everybody. Without the use of glitches, this is the only boss that you fight as the Sand Wraith. In my opinion, this is a good thing, because this is one of the only 2 fights in Warrior Within that really encourages you to use more of your sand powers. When you're the Sand Wraith, your health points slowly diminish, but your sand tanks get refilled over time, so you essentially have unlimited sands. The Sand Griffin restores HP over time and has armor at the front of his leg, so the strategy to defeating this guy is to attack him side on or from behind. He can be quite nimble and reminds me slightly of a battle like Black Dragon Calamite from Dark Souls, except substantially easier and with more powers at your disposal to exploit. This fight can be pretty much trivialized if you just spam slow motion, because his attacks from his tail are pretty easy to block or dodge regardless of whether in slow motion or not, and the majority of the time he needs to jump before he can hit you with his claws, so this makes them extremely easy to dodge. Only attack to really watch out for is his swiping attack that can just throw you into the abyss. Oh, he also flies upwards occasionally to fly very quickly towards the prince, but these are incredibly easy to dodge and only really act as a window for him to regenerate HP. The reason I rank the Griffin so high on this list is because he can be a real pain in the ass if you decide not to use any time powers. He's also just annoying and inconvenient, and I hate him, and he's bad, and I hate him. Number 2, the Dahaka, Guardian of Time. This goddamn boss, Just like the transformed Vizier, the Dahaka has cheese strategies that can make this fight laughably easy, and you can see it in the footage right now. You can essentially stun lock the Dahaka by hitting him and dodging either left or right, waiting a split second, and then repeating. Basically just deal damage infinitely until his health reaches the point in which he gets blown off the map by KAILEENA. Once he gets blown off the map, slow down time twice, attacking him until the power ends both times, then acting Ravages of Time to frenzy attack him, and then slowing down time one final time. You can do this unharmed very easily and the fight is a joke. But if you don't know about this cheese and don't use it, oh god, this fight can be tough. Unfortunately, there's not too much for me to say about this fight despite him being at number 2 spot and being so difficult. Almost all of his attacks obliterate your health bar, are poorly coordinated, making them terribly difficult to dodge, can have some unpredictability, and he's just all around a pest. KAILEENA blows the Dahaka off the map several times throughout the fight, so be sure to exploit everything at your disposal to try and melt his health bar down. Oh yeah, and I forgot to mention, it feels like the Dahaka has more health than Yhorm the Giant without the Storm Ruler, making this fight incredibly lengthy if you don't use cheese. So, your choice, go through the rigmarole of killing him normally, or kill him in 2 minutes exploiting cheese. I hate this boss, by the way. And the boss that takes the crown as the hardest boss in the Prince of Persia trilogy, in my opinion, KAILEENA, Empress of Time, second encounter. This boss battle is absolutely phenomenal and is a perfect mix of challenge and fairness that I really appreciate. Despite it being yet another rehash of SHARDEE's fight mechanics, the second encounter with KAILEENA really spices things up with something that has never been used in the series up until this point. KAILEENA can slow down time in this fight, meaning you must play her at her own game and slow down time right back. Taking as little damage as possible in this fight is extremely important, needless to say, but it's made even more important due to the fact that you need sand tanks to stand any sort of chance. If she slows down time and you don't have sands to counter it, you're lucky to come out alive. I love this, because aside from the Sand Griffin, it's the only fight in this series that really encourages you to use the powers given to you. Just try not to activate Ravages of Time like I do sometimes, it can seriously cost you. Don't worry too much about wasting a sand tank or two though, because at 3 areas of the fight she levitates as she did in her first encounter where she summons the Crowmaster reskins, but this time conjures 3 sand tornadoes that can be very difficult to dodge and will wreck your health bar if you're hit with them. This phase is more of a battle of endurance. My strategy is to side roll constantly on the circle of the arena. Tornadoes struggle to find past you and it's the most efficient way I've found of avoiding them. Once these tornadoes dissipate, you can collect a sand cloud from each of them and engage in the next phase. Altogether, this fight with KAILEENA is fantastic and is a really good final boss for a really good game and is definitely an experience I will never forget. Well everybody, that concludes my video ranking the Prince of Persia trilogy bosses. I hope you enjoyed it. Sorry again for my voice, sorry if it was kind of obnoxious and croaky throughout the video. I am sick right now, so that's the reason why. But yeah, I love this franchise so much and I can only hope Ubisoft return to it one day. Check out my Twitch in the description below if you'd like to watch some Prince of Persia as I stream it from time to time, and consider dropping a like on the video if you think it's deserving of one, or a dislike if you think it's deserving of one of those as well. That's it for me guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.